Hey y'all. So bank accounts in Thailand have been the talk for many months now, and today we're finally going to set the record straight. No BS. This is who can and cannot open a bank account or have a bank account in Thailand according to current regulations and standards. Let's get right into it. First, we're going to talk about who cannot open bank accounts in Thailand or cannot have a bank account in Thailand. A lot of the problems that have been going on lately are because in the past, some of these categories could own a bank account in Thailand, but currently they no longer can. So you're getting called in, your account is frozen, you're getting kicked out of the bank, or you have to prove that you have one of those categories that now qualifies. So who cannot open a bank account or have a bank account in Thailand as of October 2025? If you are here on a visa exemption, if you are coming from one of those 93 countries that does not require a visa, you get a stamp at the airport when you come in that says you can stay for 60 days, you cannot open a bank account in Thailand with that kind of entry. You also cannot have a bank account in Thailand if you have a visa on arrival. Visa on arrival means you are required to have a visa, but you don't have to get it ahead of time. You go to a kiosk at the airport in the immigration area and you get your visa there. If you have visa on arrival or if you received a visa on arrival, you cannot have a bank account in Thailand. If you're here on a tourist visa, so 93 countries can come visa exempt. If you're not from those 93 countries and you're from a country that does require a visa, a tourist visa, you cannot have a bank account in Thailand. One more, I'm only going to say it one more time, and this is the big one. You got to pay attention to this one. Right now, the Destination Thailand visa, also known as the DTV, is very, very popular because it's being marketed as a long-term visa for digital nomads. The problem is the visa is good for 5 years, but it's only valid for 180 days at a time. You can extend it once for another 180 days for a total of 360, but it's classed as a tourist visa. If you're coming to Thailand and you want to be a digital nomad or a remote worker and you think you're going to live in Thailand and have a bank account here, you're wrong. DTV is not eligible to open a bank account in Thailand, and that's causing a lot of problems. If you're going to live someplace for 6 months but you can't have a bank account, wow, you're going to pay a lot in ATM fees, you're going to pay a lot or lose a lot in conversion rates. However you're going to get your money to Thailand that you're going to need for 6 months of living, it's not going to be through a bank transfer, so just be aware of that one. Let's move on and talk about who can have an account in Thailand. So if you're planning on coming or if you have arrived on one of those other methods, you can always switch. Well, in many instances, you can switch once you have arrived in Thailand. But if you want to know what kind of visa you have to have or who is eligible to have a bank account in Thailand, pay attention. Starting off with the education visa. Now, there have been some recent visa changes where they've reduced the number of categories, visa categories, from 17 to 7. So all the different types of education visas are now lumped together in non-immigrant ED. So an education visa, good to go. You can have a bank account here in Thailand. If you have a work visa, a non-immigrant B, you can have an account in Thailand. If you get married in Thailand and you get a Thailand marriage visa, you can also have a bank account here. The Thailand retirement visa, which I have, the 1-year visa that's probably the most common one here for retirees, you can have a bank account in Thailand, no problem. If you have the LTR, which is the long-term resident visa, it's a 10-year visa issued twice at 5 years each. Kind of like the DTV is renewable. It's 5 years, renewable again 5 for a total of 10 on the LTR. It has a lot of other benefits too. Something to worth looking into, definitely. I'm thinking of switching to that, seeing if I qualify next time my visa's up. So LTR, you can have a bank account here in Thailand. Last but not least is the Thailand Privilege Visa. It used to be known as the Thailand Elite Visa. pretty expensive. You pay for the entire length, the duration of the visa up front. It comes with some other benefits like golf discounts and shopping discounts and that kind of stuff. And basically your own visa agent. They will send someone with you to open an account at the bank. So will a visa agent. So Thailand privilege visa, if you get that card or that method of entry, you can also have a bank account here in Thailand. A couple other tips or commonly asked questions I'll answer for you now. If you're eligible to open an account, you definitely want to open that account at a branch. Try to avoid the little mall branches and stuff. Sometimes they're not as geared toward foreigners as the standalone street branches. But you want to open that account at a branch near your home because some transactions can only be done at your home branch, which leads me to point number 2. If you decide to move while you're in Thailand, let's say you start out in Jomtien and you open an account in Jomtien, but then you decide you want to move to Chiang Mai. You don't want to leave your account in Jomtien, and this is where banking differs significantly from, say, the United States. If you open an account at any major bank in the United States that has branches all over the country, you can do all of your business in any of those branches. But like I mentioned a minute ago, in Thailand, sometimes there are transactions that can only be done at your home branch, which would mean you'd have to make the trip from Chiang Mai to Jomtien to handle those kinds of transactions. Or if you had a problem, you're going to need to go to your home branch. So if you move, you need to open a new account in your new city, close to where you live. Keep that in mind because a lot of people move around here in Thailand. Things you're going to need to take with you. Now, this isn't for every type of visa. Each visa can have its own requirements for opening documentation, and each bank can require different documentation too. Things you should think about ahead of time taking with you when you go to open the account. Things like your lease or a certificate of residency issued by immigration. You're gonna need a Thai phone number because they're gonna want you to do some online checks, download their app so that you can have mobile banking and that kind of thing. So you do need a Thai phone number here. They're really easy to get, no problem there. But make sure you've got one before you go to the bank. And some banks, you're also going to be asked for a copy of your TM30. Your TM30 is just where your landlord or your hotel or wherever you're staying registers you with immigration to tell them you're staying there. Some banks will require that, especially if you don't have a long-term lease or if you don't have that certificate of residency. So just be aware of that. Your landlord can furnish you with that. If you buy your own condo here or you're living on property that you or your spouse owns, then you or that spouse, the owner of the property, is responsible for filing the TM30. So if you own it, you're responsible for doing your own TM30. Just because you own it doesn't mean you don't have to do that. And every time you return to the country, if you go on a trip to Singapore and you come back to your own place, you still have to file a new TM30. Same thing if you're renting. If you travel abroad and come back, you need to let your landlord know very quickly that you have returned so that they can stay up to date and file that new TM30. It's not a once and done filing. So keep that in mind. I hope that answers a lot of the questions that are out there about who can have an account in Thailand, who cannot, and some tips about getting that account open without having to make 2 or 3 trips to the bank or to immigration or some combination of those. Hope that helps. I'll see y'all in the next one.